Hey, welcome in. Well, looks like Megan Rapinoe did a racism. Yes, she did. So it looks like it's time to cancel Megan Rapinoe. And in fact, really, Megan Rapinoe should be canceling herself. I mean, she did say this. Players not outraged by racism are part of the problem. United States national team co-captain Megan Rapinoe has said players who are not incensed by racism are part of the problem, and has called for punishments that are more damaging financially in an effort to reduce the number of incidents. So bravo, Megan Rapinoe. Now it's time that you put those words into action. Because what have we got? Old tweet of Megan Rapinoe mocking Asians resurfaces after 10 years. Why is it always the most obnoxious virtue signalers? Is it overcompensation? Possibly. Because the amazing thing is that they know that this stuff exists. Like Trudeau, he knew there were photos of him in blackface out there somewhere. And yet he relentlessly lectured Canada on how racist everybody was except for him. He was the good one. But he knew those pictures were out there. She knew this tweet was out there. And yet she wants to lecture everybody about how racist they are. So I think that Megan Rapinoe should put all that righteous virtue to good use and cancel herself and make it financially painful, because those are her words. Let's see, what did she say? Tasha Kai, you look Asian with those closed eyes. Oh, Megan Rapinoe, you vicious racist. Time for a good canceling for you. But nobody else should do it. It should just be her. She should cancel herself. After all, in her own words, players who are not incensed by racism are part of the problem, and has called for punishments that are more damaging financially. So step to it, Megan. And it looks like this is the player that she sent that to. That's Kai. Who was a former professional soccer player, Natasha Kai, who was of Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino, and Caucasian heritage. So I don't know what the context is here, if it was an in-joke. I don't really care, actually. It was 10 years ago. And I'm not using this to say that Megan Rapinoe is a terrible person. What I'm saying is that Megan Rapinoe was a terrible person long before this. And really what it is the hypocrisy. Because that's what really gets people in the end, is the hypocrisy. So let's see. The 35-year-old who gained prominence in world sports, not just for her achievements as a player, but outside the soccer field as well, such as raising concern for pay discrimination in women's soccer, her stance against former U.S. President Donald Trump, and more. So there's so much in here. So, as far as her achievements as a player, I did notice that the U.S. women's national team was beaten by an under-15 boys squad. And this was in a scrimmage, to be fair. The U.S. women's national team was beaten by 14-year-olds, but, in fairness, it was in a scrimmage. And you know what? They probably let them win anyway. They probably let the boys win. Like, they probably let these kids that are like a foot taller than them just win, just to be nice, right? They just saw these 14-year-old kids who literally dwarf them physically, and just let them win. Just let them win, just to be nice. Because if we know anything about Megan Rapinoe, she's a lovely, humble person, right? And some say she's polarizing, but why is she polarizing? Why? Well, she demanded equal pay for the women's team, but has also incessantly used her platform to speak out incessantly on social justice issues, which apparently she doesn't actually care about. But the equal pay for the women's team thing, that's very important, right? Because, let's see, yes, there is a soccer pay gap. The women make more than the men do. Last year, the Men's World Cup generated $6 billion, that's billion with a B, and gave about 7% to the teams. The 2019 Women's World Cup made $131 million and gave out more than 20% to the teams. And that's from July 8th, 2019. So there's a couple things here. There's the percentage of the revenue that went to the players, but there's also the actual gross amount. $6 billion for the men's, $131 million for the women's. So one has a lot more money than the other. So that's a thing. And as for politics, I mean, she's been very classy. Or actually not. During the World Cup, a 6-month-old video resurfaced of Rapinoe saying, quote, "I'm not going to the, I guess, pick your expletive, White House." So that's great. But you know, there's one other thing as well. Which I don't even really want to bring up, but she's ruining Victoria's Secret. She's ruining it for everybody. Megan Rapinoe's Victoria's Secret role sparks huge backlash. But only from people who ever want to be sexually aroused. So I should note that. The announcement comes almost 2 years after Victoria's Secret announced that it would no longer be appointing angels as brand ambassadors who were often supermodels. So by angels, what they mean there is hot women. So they will no longer be appointing hot women. And so now you get that. So that's the new thing that I guess everybody's been clamoring for. Now, I could understand if it were like a brand of like James Dean inspired clothing for lesbians, I guess. I mean, that would make perfect sense and I'd be fully behind that. Full support. But when I think of Megan Rapinoe and lingerie, I also think maybe celibacy isn't that bad. And hey, I'll save a few bucks on Valentine's Day, right? Anyway, I think we all remember Megan Rapinoe saying, "I deserve this, I deserve this." Because, I don't know, she got some award or something, and she was saying, "I deserve this, I deserve this." Well, you deserve this. You deserve the canceling that, she's not going to get canceled, is she? She's not. She's going to make some groveling apology or something, and everybody will forget that she's probably a sociopath, because in order to be like these people who have these skeletons in their closet, like her, like a Trudeau, and to pretend that this ultimate righteousness, you have to be a bit of a sociopath, don't you? To pretend at this perfect, idealistic virtue when you just know it's not true. I just think it takes a little bit of sociopathy. And that's why you can never trust these people, because nobody's perfect. I sure as hell ain't. I mean, hell, I've already told you, I used to be a liberal. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.